Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Great. So today we will discuss one of the most interesting topics, I guess. The topic which is dedicated to the problem of the transformation of labor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you have heard that the digital transformation of the society, of the economy in general, deeply shifts the labor, creates a deep shift in the labor relations. It creates new risks and obviously new opportunities. So let's try to draw a general picture of these changes. Ladies and gentlemen, however, I would like to inform you that today I will finish earlier than we should because unfortunately I got ill and okay, I have to go to a doctor. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is the situation with the labor? Okay, first of all, let's try to analyze the traditional capitalist model of labor, the traditional capitalist model of employment, more precisely. Well, as you probably know, the labor relations in case of capitalism, of traditional capitalism, I mean, are based on the following assumptions, on the following features, so to say. First of all, employers need workers for production tasks. Pretty obvious. Well, indeed, in order to get a thing done, we have to employ a person who will be responsible for this task. Mm, so, while we use different machinery, while we use different equipment, etc., all this machinery, all this equipment is operated by human workers. So, employers need workers for production tasks. The next thing is that workers do not have production assets. What does it mean? Workers cannot produce any products themselves. To put it simply, they have to be hired by a company. It is a very big difference between the normal capitalist employment and traditional employment, traditional model of work, which was in use before the Industrial Revolution. As you know, before the Industrial Revolution, okay, there was a lot of small workers which possessed small machinery, small equipment, etc., which were able to produce products themselves. Now, the situation is pretty different. The machinery is so expensive, the level of skills which is required to operate a factory is so high that workers are not able to buy such equipment. They have to be they have to find a work in order to get access to production assets. The third thing, which is always which is often forgotten but still very important, is that workers' salary doesn't depend on company's performance. Guys, do you understand this formula? Workers' salary doesn't depend on company's performance.
Yes, it is clear.
Could you please explain how you understand it?
Okay. It
Mostly,
means whether the government, whether the company perform well or bad, or have a good sales in market, or they
Mhm,
have some kind of jeopardy in company. Uh,
mhm.
the company has to pay the salary according to their settlement between the employee and
Mhm.
employer.
Absolutely correct. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very good that you understand it. Because, okay, workers actually do not create profits for the company. Workers simply sell their work, their labor to the employers. That's all. So technically, workers do not see, so to say, direct correlations between a company's performance and their salary. The company has to pay a salary which was fixed in the contract. That's all. So, so it is really very important. It is really very important because it means that workers do not have any market risks, so to say. As you said, even even if a company is in trouble, it still has to pay the salary in full. Uh, but unfortunately, if the company is a very good situation, it doesn't mean that the company will share its additional profits with the workers. So workers have a guaranteed salary, but okay, they have a guaranteed salary, they have no risks, but they have no possibilities of additional income in case the company performs well. Guys, do you understand it?
Uh, yes, but I have to comment something.
Go ahead.
But if the company is running pretty badly, so it doesn't have enough income, enough money, it would not pay salaries. So
Okay, look,
workers have some risk.
okay, as you understand, there are no risk-free deals in real economy. So, in case the company is in real trouble, in case it has no money, obviously, in this case, it will fire its workers without paying them. But this situation is not, so to say, typical. So, in most cases, they will try to find a solution. And as you probably know, there is a kind of social protection in this case. So, and even if a company goes bankrupt, it has to pay back salaries, or at least a part of these salaries. So, of course, there are some risks, but these risks are substantially lower than in case of entrepreneurs. Guys, do you understand it?
Yes, okay.
So let's go further. Ladies and gentlemen, what else? In case of traditional capitalist employment, work is clearly separated from home, or more generally from personal environment, so to say. You live at home, you work at work. That's all. So, as soon as you leave work, okay, you forget about it. You go to your home, you spend your time there. Okay, I don't know. You have breakfast, you have dinner. I don't know. You watch TV, you surf internet. But okay, there is no place for work at home, and there is no place for personal time at work. So, work is clearly separated from home. There are two different places. What else? In case of traditional employment, the labor market is dominated by long-term contracts. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? It means that, as we have already stated, employers are interested in having employees. They need employees. They're interested in having high quality employees, having, how should I say, high level of human capital. And in order to give a necessary guarantee for the development of such human capital, obviously they provide their workers, their employees, with long-term contracts. And last but not least, obviously, workers have a social protection. They are protected against firing, against some risks. They have vacations, health insurance, etc. So workers have a protection against some risks. Guys, do you understand it?
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, again, in different states, in different situations, the level of this protection is different. Obviously, not all professions, not all areas are dominated by long-term contracts. But still, these features are typical for the traditional capitalist model of employment. Now, what happens? What happens now? Ladies and gentlemen, we have two main directions of transformation of labor environment: technological transformation and organizational transformation. In case of technological transformation, it's very simple: automation, replacement of living workers by robots, or to put it simply, destruction of jobs. People are steadily replaced by robots. What about organizational transformation? In this case, we go to the flexibilization of labor, gradual cancellation of guarantees for workers. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand what it means?
Uh,
Okay.
Partly.
So, give an idea.
So, as an example, now you can work as a freelancer
Yes.
at home, not uh, in the office. It it can be more comfortable for you, but um, in that case, you have less social protection. It's the
Why not?
price of
Why not?
freelancer.
Why not? Why not? Technically, you are right. I will develop it a little bit further, guys. Let's continue. So, let's analyze the impact of these factors. First of all, automation. Probably it is one of the most popular things which are discussed now in the literature, in press and on the internet, etc. Automation. So, decrease in demand for workforce. So, to put it simply, as I have already said, the destruction of jobs. Companies do not need so many human workers anymore. They replace the human workers by robots. And one more thing is that the transformation of tasks occurs. Instead of using human workers to perform tasks, okay, human workers are now used to control robots, to service them, etc. So the tasks which are now reserved for human workers are not essential, so to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, the development of automation may lead to the so-called digital unemployment. Have you ever heard about it? Digital unemployment.
Uh,
Yes, I have
no.
heard
Could you
digital
please tell me what is it?
digital unemployment. You mean
Yes.
that this is when the robots and the technology uh, replace the people power.
Absolutely right. It means that the digital technologies make people unnecessary for work. So there is no demand for human workers because they are replaced by automates. Because robots are more efficient, more and less costly, in the long run, I mean, than human workers. It is a really problem because indeed automation leads to a higher level of efficiency of production. But the problem is that in case of replacement of human workers by robots, human workers will simply have no money to earn. They will have no income to survive. And it is a really big social problem. There should be a solution, there should be a clear policy designed to avoid such risks for human workers. Well, now, let's go to flexibilization, ladies and gentlemen. Platform work. What is it, ladies and gentlemen? We have discussed the phenomenon of platform during our first lectures. What is a platform? It is a place for interaction of independent contractors, so to say. So, Delivery Club is indeed a platform. Uber is a platform. Airbnb is also a platform. So, in case of platform work, what do we have? we have we have workers which have no long-term contracts, no social security, and they are paid per task. What does it mean? In case of traditional, okay, let's imagine. In case of a normal bus driver, in case of a normal bus driver, a bus driver is employed on a basis of long-term contract, obviously. It has a decent level of social protection because okay, buses are normally municipal companies which provide a good level of social protections to the a good level of social protection to the employees. But what else? In case of bus drivers, okay, they have a fixed salary, so there is no direct connection between the number of passengers, between the efficiency of the bus, and the salary. So bus drivers have a guaranteed salary. Mm, in case of platform work, the situation is pretty different. Let's go to Uber. Uber, as you understand, they are very similar to workers. Indeed, Uber drivers are not officially employed by Uber. Indeed, but still they work for Uber. They create value under the brand of Uber. However, they have no long-term contracts. Actually, they have no contracts at all, so to say. They use the app provided by Uber. That's all. They have no social security. And obviously, they are paid per task. If they manage to organize a ride, okay, in this case, they are paid for this ride. If there are no rides, there is no payments for drivers. Guys, do you understand it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what else? What else? You should understand that now, thanks to the platform work, okay, companies may use human resources more efficiently. But the problem with that, this efficiency is paid by the lower level of protection of workers. Again, as I have already said, in case of Uber, there is no guaranteed payments, no guaranteed salary. Uh, and still, they have to comply with the Uber rules. So they are not really independent contractors, not independent drivers. They comply with the rules of Uber, but still they have no guarantees which are typical for traditional employment. Is it clear, ladies and gentlemen? Guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. Okay, so what else? What else? Now, uh, as you know, okay, the pandemics demonstrated it very clearly, but pandemics is not the only reason for it. There is a huge expansion of distant work, or to put it simply, of work from home. Due to this work, okay, a new balance between home and labor emerges. Ladies and gentlemen, as I have already mentioned, in case of traditional employment, home and labor are clearly separated. Now it is no more the case. You work from home, so your personal space becomes also your working space. It leads to the distortion of privacy actually. Because, okay, when you communicate with your colleagues via Zoom, for example, okay, your colleagues see how you live. And in addition, you should be able to provide all the necessary equipment to be able to work from home. So you have to buy a computer, you have to buy software, etc. So in this case, it means that people are now possessing some equipment necessary to work. And here we go to the next point. Workers have production assets. In case of Uber, it's cars. In case of, I don't know, accountants, computers and software, etc. It means, ladies and gentlemen, that risks of assets ownership are transferred to workers. It means that employers transfer risks to workers. If, in case of traditional employment, workers are free from risks, okay, from most risks, now the situation is different. Workers have the risks of salary, of payments, of asset ownership, etc. While employers just control their activity, set prices, control their access to potential customers. That's all. So now the situation is pretty inverse. Uh, Employers have no risks. All risks are transferred to workers. Guys, do you understand it?
Yes.
It is a really very big problem because in this case we have a distortion of the labor relations. Labor is based on the sales of work actually. And it means that workers have no high incomes, but they have no risks. Now, they have no guaranteed risks, or they have no guaranteed incomes, and they have all risks they take. It is really a problem, guys. Well, now, what are the effects of digital transformation on of labor environment? Okay, there are some advantages. There may be a better balance of risks and profits. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed it is so. In case you are a highly professional freelancer, okay, in this case, there is no need for you to be hired by a company. You are a valuable professional, and maybe you will be able to you will be able to sell your human capital at a higher price than your employer can do. So in this case, you take higher risks because you have no employment, but still you can get higher profits, which is pretty good. Well, in case you are lucky enough, you may find a better balance between work and personal time. But if you are organized well, and if you can manage your family affairs, so to say, indeed, thanks to the work from home, you don't have to go to work. Actually, you can save a lot of time, you can save a lot of money, and you can spend more time with your family. Okay, which is not so bad. Thanks to the automation, humans shift to easier and more interesting tasks. Indeed, difficult tasks, hard tasks, uncomfortable tasks, etc., are now performed by robots, by machines. Uh, Human workers are responsible for more comfortable tasks, for creative tasks, which is also good. And obviously higher productivity. What does it mean? If you remain at work, thanks to automation, you can ensure a higher level of productivity and higher level of salary, which is also good for you. But there is a lot of disadvantages. No guarantee of income, guys. Platform work, which is very popular now, destroys your income guarantees. You have no guarantee of salary. It is it is a problem actually, guys. Absence of social guarantees. No vacation, no health insurance, etc. Indeed, you can say to Uber, for example, that you will not work for 2 weeks, but in this case, okay, you will get no money. In case of normal employment, you can have a vacation which is paid by the employer. In case of Uber, it is not the case. You can take the free time when you prefer, but no payment will be given to you. Distortion of privacy, as I have already said. Okay, your personal space, your personal home, so to say, becomes a public space, which is not comfortable for everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, the phenomenon of junk jobs. Do you have any idea what it can mean?
Uh, some bad and not useful jobs. Junk. No?
Oh, not necessarily. Okay, not necessarily useful.
Maybe
The problem with that, in case of automation, okay, in case of automation, we should implement robots when we can create economic effects on the basis of these robots. When the work is expensive, when the salary is high, etc. But many jobs are not so expensive, are not connected with high salaries. These jobs are not automated. They are not clean. They are very hard. And in this case, instead of using robots, we use a lot of cheap employees, cheap workers, which are not protected and which are ready to work, so to say, just for food, if you understand what I mean. Guys, is it clear?
Uh, and so, with automation, robots replace them or not?
Could you please repeat?
Uh, So there are some jobs which are hard, which are not well paid, and what is the link between those jobs and the automation? Uh, Robots replace them or not? I do not.
Could you please repeat again because I cannot get your point.
I couldn't uh, catch a link between junk jobs and automation.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what it means? To put it simply, it means that okay, human workers are used in places, in jobs which cannot be automated with a decent level of economic effects. So what it means? It means that how should I say, routine jobs, factory jobs, etc. They are automated, which is pretty obvious. But there is a lot of jobs, like for example in utilities, which cannot be automated because they are because it is manual work, because it is hard work, and because the tasks are so different that it is not be possible to use a robot. And in this case, it is more efficient for a company to hire a lot of cheap workers, and to make them work for a very low salary. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? It means that human workers are squeezed out to the areas which have no good salaries, no interesting tasks, etc. Some examples of such junk jobs are, for example, Amazon logistics lines. If you try to check the information about this system, you will see that okay, they have really crazy working conditions. They have no guarantees, and still they do not use automates because human workers perform such tasks more efficiently than robots. Because making a packaging, okay, because humans make packaging more efficiently than robots do. Do you understand it?
Yes, now it is clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. Let's continue. Well, what measures can be proposed against job destruction, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the first idea is basic income. We have already discussed a little bit, and we will have a seminar dedicated to this problem. For the time being, just remember this term, the basic income, robot taxation, and creation of new high-level digital jobs. What does it mean, ladies and gentlemen? As you probably know, actually, the development of capitalism was marked by different shifts in main occupations. As you know, the primarily agricultural occupation was replaced by industrial occupation, Ford companies, conveyor, etc. After the first wave of automation, uh, industrial employment, industrial occupations were replaced by service occupation. Workers, as you probably know, workers are now mostly working in service industries, like, I don't know, fitness centers, restaurants, cafes, shops, etc. Now, when a lot of such routine jobs are being automated, it is believed that people can work in new areas like creative work, decision making, affective work, etc. So, while robots will take over routine work, people will be responsible for creative work and affective work. Guys, do you understand what it means?
Yes.
What is affective work?
Uh, just a second.
Without Google, if possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to formulate.
It works that requires affection, such as maybe teaching or working in police or something like that.
Okay, working police and affection. Okay, it's I like your example actually, but well, you're absolutely right. It is about affection, about human emotions, about protection, about feeling, etc. So it is indeed it is about teaching. It is about psychological support, etc.
Uh,
It is about medicine and so on. Yes, Nikolai.
so that's about sympathy, as we have discussed a few lessons ago. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Okay.
Because robots cannot provide us with such a level of empathy and sympathy. And okay, still people need this human approach. So probably, effective work can be a new field of application of human efforts. Why not? Well, what about basic income, guys? As you probably know, basic income it is a guaranteed payment which is paid to all citizens of a country. It is a theoretical concept which has not been implemented in full in any country, but some attempts were made to use it. As you probably know, some attempts were made in Finland. The results are contradictory, but still there were some attempts to do so. What does it mean? It means that, okay, you get a guaranteed payments from the state. Uh, it ensures you a financial freedom because if you get such a payment, okay, you don't have to depend on your parents, on your husband, on your wife, on I don't know, on your employer, etc. In this case, you are free to live as you wish without okay, so within this payment, and well, it provides you with a decent level of financial freedom. In this case, there is no connection between labor and income. So the state guarantees a payment to all citizens without labor. This payment does not depend on your real level of income. Millionaires and poor guys, all of them are eligible for such a payment. The problem is that in this case, there is no motivation to work, as you understand it. Because if you believe that you will not be able to earn more than you get as a guaranteed basic income, okay, in this case there is no need for you to try to find a job, because okay, in case you find a job, you will have to work, but you will not earn much more money. So the problem of basic income is that destroys motivation to work. And some specialists say that it is unproductive use of human capital. Okay, in this case, some people believe that basic income is paid to people so that they do not require work, so to say. We give them money and they do not work. That's all. Okay, okay, we provide people with money to survive, which is good. But we create no motivation, no stimuli for them to develop themselves, to create new resources, to develop new competencies, etc. So in this case, we simply destroy human capital, which is obviously not good.
Uh, Sorry. Uh, but could we make a system in which a person, an employee who was fired, gets a full, I know, a salary, which he or she used to get at his or her job, while he or she is searching for anyone.
Could you please elaborate a little bit?
Okay. So if you didn't work in your life, you don't get any money. But if you worked and for some reason you got fired, uh, so the government, the state, pays you a payment every month, um, which is equal to your previous salary while you are searching for a new job.
Well, it is just a model of unemployment payments. It has nothing to do with the basic income. The basic income, it is a guaranteed payment to everybody. You propose a scheme for unemployment payments. Okay, why not? It is possible. But the problem is that okay, sometimes your salary before you got fired is too high, and in this case it would be very difficult to ensure such a level of payments. So technically it is possible to design such a system, but it will be, I'm afraid, too costly. Okay.
Okay.
So ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. Robot taxation, what does it mean, guys? It is a very interesting idea which was proposed by the Euro Parliament 3 years ago. The problem is that the point is that robots should be subject to taxation. It means that if you implement robots in your factory, in your company, etc., these robots should be subject to taxes. You pay taxes depending on the number of robots you use, their productivity, their price, etc. And well, these taxes will be used to compensate workers whose jobs were destroyed by robotization. Well, it could be a logical idea because if human workers the problem is that in case of normal economy, taxes are paid by workers. But now, if there are no workers, obviously there should be no taxes because there are no salaries, etc. So taxes from human workers should be replaced by taxes from robots. But the problem is that in this case, we may face an artificial slowdown of robotization. We will reduce the economic effect of robotization, and we will not be able to ensure a decent level of compensation to human workers. Guys, do you understand it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, and creation of new jobs. Okay, it is probably the most promising idea because in this case, okay, we may create more interesting and attractive work because indeed, creative work, effective work, etc. They are more interesting, they are more attractive than traditional physical or psychological labor. No doubt. The problem is unfortunately that there may be insufficient demand for new type of jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to be a creative person, in order to be an effective person, okay, in this case, you should have specific psychological features. You have to have specific personal capacities, specific competencies. And not all potential workers are able to ensure such level of empathy or creativity. So probably, while creative jobs will must probably exist and will provide employment for many people, well, it will not be able to cover all the demand for potential employment. Guys, do you understand it, ladies and gentlemen?
So not all of the workers are able to be so I know creative or so uh, qualified workers to follow this idea. Yeah.
Absolutely. In order to be creative, okay, you have to be creative, as you understand it. In order to be in order to be an effective person, in order to be an effective worker, okay, you have to ensure a decent level of empathy. And not all people are able to do so. So it is actually the problem. It is actually the problem which occurred earlier with the replacement of industrial jobs by service jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, when you work at a factory, okay, you work with a machine, you don't have to communicate with this machine. But well, when you are a waiter in a restaurant, okay, in this case, you have to be a customer oriented. You have to be able to communicate with the customer. You have to make the customer happy, so to say. And not all waiters are professional enough and okay, qualified enough to do so. Guys, do you understand what I mean?
Yes. But I've got a question.
Yes.
As suggestion, so to say, maybe it's the question of education overall. So if there is no such need for factory workers, maybe it's a good time to educate people how to be, I know, communicable and sociable, and how to work and live in this new reality.
Again, what is the problem actually? It is possible to educate people, but it is extremely difficult to change the psychological profile of persons. Okay, indeed, education is necessary. But guys, as you understand, in addition to education, you also have to have some capacities because creative work, what is about? It is about creation of something new. Are you sure that the lack of talent can be compensated by education? I'm not sure, guys. In case of effective work, the same is true. Um, you may be educated to help people, but if it is not your thing, so to say, if you are not happy when you help people, okay, in this case, you will not like your job. That's all. So and this new digital environment, the importance of high level of communication, of high level of empathy will increase. But it is extremely difficult to ensure this level of empathy, especially now, as you know, because people now is interested in self-actualization, not in effective work for other people. Guys, do you understand what I mean?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I guess that's all for today. Yes, as I have already informed you, I have to go to a doctor. I'm sorry to interrupt so early, but okay, I really got sick. Do you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Everything was clear enough.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt you. See you next week and have a nice evening. See you guys.
Okay,
Okay.
get
Thank you
better.
very much.
Bye bye.
Thank you, bye.
You're welcome, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.